You know, because of our communications in the buildings, our PA systems are intermittent. I'm looking at wanting to add radios in the classrooms. And if I can't afford to get them all in all the classrooms, not this expensive one, but the little cheapy handheld $50 ones, I'm looking at one per grade or like team, like a science team, social studies or something like that, so that at least that team or that section of that school will have communications with the principal when they're outside. And then tomorrow, I just want to throw this one last thing out there. I'm meeting with the staff at Evans Elementary School as well as Colorado Springs Police Department. We're going to do a debrief at Evans Elementary School on this and get some lessons learned, positives, negatives, and so I'll submit a full report to the Office of the Chief Education Officer for your availability within the next couple weeks.
Thanks.
And that's all I've got.
Thanks.
So do you need anything from us at this point? Are you working with the finance and education side to move things along?
That's correct. I'm working with all the chiefs and as well as, you know, Melissa and Kirsty, and everything's moving along.
And Marie, I was going to yield to you. I saw your light on, so you have been there for a while. You know, I did a study when this shooting took place, and the Israelis that lived in the most dangerous portion of the world, their teachers are fully armed. They have never had a school shooting. The Israelis have never had a school shooting. That's because they are prepared. When their kids go on, we won't go through that, when the kids go on field trips, every teacher, male and female, has a long rifle. Every teacher in the classroom has a long rifle. In all of the terrorist attacks inside of the country of Israel, there has never been an attack on their school. Terrorists have never attacked on their school because they are prepared. So I would much rather have this sign, and you think of gun-free school, my teachers are armed to the T over here. Which one are you going to turn your car to? Gun-free, or my teachers are prepared to do whatever it takes to protect the children and themselves. So again, District 49, the citizens, that's a conversation that's going to eventually have to take place. And I know it's an expensive undertaking, but when you're talking about children, you have to spend the money to take care of them, to educate them, and to make sure that they're safe and without harm when they're away from home. Because you take care of them when they're home. You take care of them. I can assure you, there's not many of you sitting here without some type of weapons in the house. I can assure you, that's just the way, that's just the nature. So when your children leave home and up under the protection of the district, it should be that way also. So I won't go on there forever. I'm just passionate about ensuring that children are not harmed, especially when we adults can make the decision to keep them from happening.
Well, you have to also remember, you know, there's two expectations. They're going to get a quality education, and they're going to be safe while getting that education. And I've been in front of several PTA groups this school year, and believe it or not, the safety piece comes out a lot more first than the actual education piece. So,
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
I didn't mean for it to go long, but that's
Not my fault.
okay. Blame it on you. You get paid. I don't.
Next up is our Power Zone Revised Innovation Plan. Mr. Pickering, welcome. Thank you all for staying so late tonight.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's on.
You're
My
welcome.
red light's on.
You're welcome.
Better be careful what I say. You're welcome.
Thank you. Number one, I need to thank the people who are here that came from the Power Zone community tonight, because it's what, almost 10? Right. Yeah, right. But actually, honestly, and this actually is not kissing up to the board, because I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true, but in reality, we had our vote, our school vote on March 4th and 5th, and a makeup on the, was that what it was? I think 4th, 5th, and they had a makeup on the 6th. And it's March 14th, and they're sitting there listening to this plan. So that is a very quick turnaround for me to have this discussion. So I just wanted to make sure you knew that. what I'm here to do tonight is to discuss the 4 components basically of our plan. And I know that there's some questions about it too, and what I wanted to ask you was what you want to have happen as far as process, as far as the presentation. Because I can either go through the entire thing and then ask questions at the end, or you can ask questions about each component as they come up. It would just help me to know what you would prefer for me to structure how we move forward.
Any input?
Hello?
I don't care.
It doesn't matter to you all.
You do your
Go through it.
presentation.
Sounds good to me. Okay, so,
Because you should hit on, you know what our
I
questions
know what
have
you probably know
been,
a lot
so
of
you
it.
might
I
as
was
well
gonna say, I think
do
several of us
them.
communicated in
Yeah.
advance, so you could be prepared, so it wasn't a lack of interest. It was that several of us email the presenters ahead of time so they know what our concerns are.
Hey, Mike.
Mike, I know you're like me and you like to move around, but Loretta said she can't, she's not picking you up.
I do like to move them. so.
Okay, that's okay, I get it.
I do too.
So, this may or may not be a lot, but you have the presentation in front of you. So, really what I wanted to talk about first was the idea that I want to talk about community a lot in the next about 15 minutes. And I wanted to let you know that when Power Zone talks about community, what we're talking about is we're talking about the students, the parents, the educators, and the external community members in the Power Zone community. That is the community. So we're not talking, we don't differentiate between classified, licensed, admin, SPED, this or that. We are a community of people who are hopefully working together in order to increase student achievement. Bar none, that's the bottom line. And so I want to draw your attention just a little bit to some of the results, because as far as our voting results go, I think our community showed a great deal of interest in this particular plan. I want to draw your attention specifically to those numbers on the right here, which show overall yes votes, not just participation, but yes votes in the different areas of the plan, as well as the different areas of the individuals that were voting. And we have them all well up in the 90s here. I wanted to also show that this overall participation rate, just overall, we've got 235 licensed teachers in the Power Zone. It does not include any classified staff or anything along those lines. We have 235 licensed teachers. Now this is going to be a split right here. You're not going to have we don't have a 3/4 teacher, but if you divide them into 4s, you don't get an even number. But we have about 223 out of 235 teachers that participated in this particular vote on average for all those 4. I think that says something about our community. And we also, as far as you just go to the yes vote, which you got to count everyone who chose not to vote, which we didn't have a huge people not vote this time. We had a lot of people vote. But you got to count everyone who didn't vote as no's. And so even with counting everyone who didn't vote as no's and the people who truly did want to vote no, we still had on average 92% of our teachers, 100% of our admin, 98% of our 103 SAC members that came out to vote yes. And so I just wanted to give you some of those statistics beforehand. The first part is the calendar autonomy waiver, and that particular waiver, not really looking for, basically the question was, well, why are you bringing this? Because you already have this right now. I think that's a very good question. The reason that we want to bring it right now is because we want to be on the same cycle that we are with the other 3 components if those components get passed. And there's different things that would happen if they get passed. But we want that to be on the same timeline. So basically, if it were to go through now, and you were to pass these or approve these, then all, basically, really 3 of the 4 components need a waiver: the calendar, the curriculum, and the evaluation. But all 3 of those would be on the same time period. And so it would basically renew our calendar and make it another 3 years.
So you're starting the time clock all over, as this is year 1.
For the calendar piece. Now you could choose not to want to do that, and then we just keep the 2 more years that we have on the calendar, and go with the other components.
Okay.
But so that's what we're asking for.
Different options, right?
Options. Quickly with the autonomy piece, and I am going to go through this fairly quickly, but if you think I'm going too fast, please tell me. But we have 2 years of calendars that we've created so far. Last year we created one, and then this year created one. We held to our what we said we were going to do as a zone by including teachers from every single, and administrators from every single committee, as well as parents that we reported out to as well on this calendar for our zone assembly meeting, for our 13-14 calendar. And so that calendar has been created as well. It's out to the public, it's out to communications here, and Dustin just got it a while ago. And so